Things are heating up for the Canucks as a recent report indicates exactly what the team is looking for in its next head coach, as well as the guy who would be perfect for the job. We're going to break down all that in this episode of Canucks Digest, but first, if you guys want to stay up to date on all things Canucks and join the nearly 7,100 subscribers that we currently have, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss the updates on all things Canucks. And with that, let's hop straight into the first topic of the day, which is Rick Dhaliwal's spicy scoop. So Rick Dhaliwal was saying on Donnie and Dolly the other day that I think the Canucks could be looking for a guy with a mixture of American Hockey League and NHL experience. And that's no surprise considering that Adam Foote is being considered for the head coaching job, getting an interview. Manny Malhotra has also been considered on the short list as per Jim Rutherford. And with this recent history of NHL assistant coaches getting that shot at the NHL bench boss role, and with some guys from the AHL coming up, we've seen the amazing job that Manny Malhotra has been doing in Abbotsford since coming over from the Toronto system. And now we're on a quest for a Calder Cup right now, and he's doing a fantastic job of that. And the noise around him has been very, very loud. And then when Adam Foote was being considered, we did a video on that if you guys want to go and check it out. And then the other thing we jumped into was some other coaching candidates that fit in that same criteria that are AHL guys or that are just guys that haven't had too much experience in the NHL that are assistants that are looking for that bench boss role. The three names we touched on there were Jeff Halpern, Mike Vellucci, and Todd Nelson, one of which is going to be in this video later on, so stay tuned for that later on in the video. But what else Dhaliwal had to say was that what do you get with an American Hockey League guy? He works with the young kids. What do you get with a veteran in the NHL? He knows how to run a veteran club, so we'll keep an eye on that. So yes, when it comes to this Vancouver roster, we've seen some coaches where if they have an old school style of hockey that they coach, or they're just a veteran head coach, it hasn't really adapted well. We saw that with Bruce Boudreau, John Tortorella, and unfortunately Rick Tocchet for last season, where that style of dump and chase hockey didn't really translate with all these young guys. So if you bring in a guy who has AHL experience and has been in the NHL for a while, whether as an assistant coach or some previous head coaching experience, that's someone who can handle a veteran personality as well as a lot of the young guys. And this team is full of younger guys. We got Quinn Hughes, we got Elias Pettersson, we got a whole bunch of guys. Connor Garland, he's still pretty young as well in his career. So we still have a relatively young team. We don't have a lot of veterans on this team. The one veteran we did have, other than Tyler Myers, we shipped him out because he was causing a problem in the locker room. So we bring in a coach who has experience with veterans, with young guys, would be a perfect blend. That's also why Manny Malhotra was being considered. But with some other guys that would be fitting options as well that Dhaliwal was touching on was Todd Nelson is in the mix, Manny Malhotra, Adam Foote will get his interview with the Canucks. I wonder if Luke Richardson gets an interview with the Canucks. Mitch Love, keep an eye on that name. So here are some names that are ones to be looking out for. We're definitely going to be dropping videos on all these guys as they were mentioned in here. Manny Malhotra, Adam Foote, you guys kind of know our opinions on that. Luke Richardson and Mitch Love, keep an eye on a video for that coming up as well. And as well as another coach that did interview with the Canucks earlier today. And Mark and myself will be dropping a video on that later on today as well. So stay tuned for that. So there is a lot of coaching options going on around the Vancouver Canucks Twitter sphere, the atmosphere, the journalism, media rounds, and everything to do with the Canucks. But one guy that was mentioned in Dhaliwal's quote is someone we're going to touch on here, and that is Todd Nelson. He is the perfect guy for this Vancouver Canucks roster. And if you guys don't know who Todd Nelson is, he's 55 years old from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada, and he has won 4 Calder Cups, 1 as a player, 3 as a coach, and 1 Coach of the Year award. And if you saw our video the other day where we touched on the guys like Jeff Halpern, Mike Vellucci, and Todd Nelson, you would have seen Daily Faceoff snippet that they had on him saying that it's bizarre that Nelson hasn't landed a full-time NHL head coaching gig given his nearly unparalleled success at the AHL level. Since a 51-game run as Oilers interim head coach in 2015, Nelson has won 3 Calder Cups, including 1 in Grand Rapids, 2 more back-to-back last year in Hershey, and they are currently on a quest for a 3rd in a row right now, despite being down in their series. And yes, the Bears stock their AHL roster a little bit differently. He's also won 2 UHL titles as well. Nelson has also spent 7 years as an NHL assistant, so maybe this is the year that he finally makes the jump as a bench boss. And if you don't believe me, when you look at these intangibles, he has been around as a coach for a long time. Yes, primarily as an assistant, but with multiple teams. He had the assistant job with Edmonton, then went on to coach for a nice little run there for the Oilers before they were knocked out of the playoffs and he was replaced. Then you go over to Grand Rapids. First year goes to the playoffs. Then they lose in the second round, but then they win the championship. Then they lose in the first round the year after that. Then he gets bumped up back to the NHL with the Dallas Stars, and then as an assistant, and then after those 4 seasons, goes back down to the AHL where he won back-to-back Calder Cups and is still on a quest for a 3rd in a row. So when you're talking about what the Canucks are looking for here, they're looking for a guy who has AHL experience. Todd Nelson's got it. Looking for a guy who has had experience in the NHL. Todd Nelson's got it, all the way back to even as far back as the Atlanta Thrasher days, which is absolutely insane to think about. I was just talking about the Atlanta Thrashers with a coworker earlier today, even just about how if they brought a team back to Atlanta and just some of the glory days of that short-lived Atlanta Thrashers time period. But this has been a guy who's been around the NHL for a long time. So he's seen his fair share of young players, veteran players, different personalities, and knowing how to manage them, whether at the AHL level or at the NHL level as an assistant coach. And now, with the Canucks looking for somebody who's waiting to make that jump, we know that with some of the guys that we were looking at, Mike Sullivan, he's gone. John Cooper, he's gone as far as not available for the Canucks. So that's why we were looking at Vellucci and Halpern, because those are their assistants who could be ready to make that jump and have been with them for so many years. But then you look at a guy like Todd Nelson. He doesn't have too much experience as an NHL assistant. He's still been around for a while, don't get me wrong. He's had nice little stretches there where he had 4 years in Dallas, 1 in Edmonton as an assistant, 2 in Atlanta as an assistant, but not nearly the amount of experience as far as recent AHL or NHL assistant coaching as those other guys do. But he has the AHL experience, and he has the AHL intangibles. Coach of the Year, 3 Calders, back-to-back including a potential 3rd one back-to-back-to-back. It's insane to see what that success of the AHL has brought him, and yet no NHL head coaching jobs to show for it. But definitely after this AHL season, he will highly be considered for an NHL coaching job, and I think he is the guy that Vancouver needs to heavily consider as their next head coach. There's a lot of other names out there that are going to be good options, but I think this is a guy where you look at the intangibles, you look at what he's been able to do at the AHL level and how he could possibly translate that to the NHL level with this young team and what he could do for the development of some of these guys that are either emerging as far as our AHL guys like DPD, Atu Ratu, and some other guys, Jonathan Lekkerimaki to name a few, as well as some of our guys that are veterans on this team that need to get things going. Elias Pettersson being one of them. Connor Garland just continuing to excel, getting Dakota Joshua back on track after a bit of a setback last year. Kiefer Sherwood continuing to build. All these guys stand to benefit from a guy like Nelson as the coach, and even a guy like Artur Shilovs, where if he gets promoted to the NHL a few games here and there, especially at the beginning of the year, Nelson will go a long way towards working in tandem with Manny Malhotra as not only someone that he recognizes as an opponent facing him in the AHL, but now also as a colleague if he gets that job in Vancouver. So it will be interesting to see how this kind of all unfolds. I know you guys seem to think who my pick would be as the next head coach for the Vancouver Canucks. Even when we were looking at some of those options in the video a few days ago, I was saying how Todd Nelson almost seems like he is the perfect fit out of all the 3 other names that we covered aside from Adam Foote that day, where he could be a potential next head coach for the Vancouver Canucks. I would definitely love to see it. I know it's still very early on in the process. There's going to be a lot more names that come through the door, but when we're looking at a lot of the NHL guys, and this is why I think the Canucks are looking towards more of an AHL guy or an NHL assistant guy, is when you're looking at the guys out there that have had NHL experience as a head coach, it's a little bit of slim pickings there, or that's not necessarily the best of options out there. So the ones that were the best options, they've been snatched up right away or been coming or going back to their teams, like we saw with John Cooper, Mike Sullivan, and then we see the Anaheim Ducks, they snatched up another coach as well. So now some head coaches are falling off of the board as far as ones that have had experience, but now is where the Canucks can go and find that diamond in the rough, or just that one that no one's really looking at because we're all looking at the high marquee coaches that have had a lot of experience or been around for a long time, and that's fine. Let those coaches garner that attention from those teams, and that's where Vancouver can kind of sneak in, make a surprise head coaching move where maybe fans don't know who this coach is, but they will find out his coaching style very soon enough. But what do you guys think about all of this? Do you think Todd Nelson is the perfect fit, or was there another name from that Rick Dhaliwal quote that you think would be a better fit as a Canucks head coach, whether it's Mitch Love, whether it's Luke Richardson, Adam Foote, or Manny Malhotra? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments below. It's going to be a very interesting offseason for the Canucks, whether it's searching for a new head coach, the NHL draft coming up, other free agency moves we have to make in the forward group, and some other free agent signings that we have to make as far as bringing guys back to our team. So it's going to be a busy summer. You guys won't want to miss a single update, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any of the updates. But with that, I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.